I died, choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the knife twisted deeper into my gut. Betrayed by the one person I'd trusted with my soul, my best friend, my lover, my partner in crime, right there in the penthouse we'd built together, the Chicago skyline mocking me through the shattered glass. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until the world snapped back into focus. And I was 25 again, staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror of my cramped Wrigleyville apartment, the date on my phone screaming 2018. Reborn. Not in some ethereal afterlife, but right here, 5 years before the blade. This time, I'd make them pay. Every single one of them. The first thing I did was vomit. Not from the disorientation, though God, that hit like a freight train, but from the flood of memories crashing in. The boardroom at Apex Ventures, where I'd poured my life into that app, Revolutionize, the one that was supposed to disrupt the gig economy and lift single moms like my own out of poverty. I'd coded the damn thing in stolen hours after waitressing shifts, dreaming of equity shares that would buy mom's meds and maybe, just maybe, a future. But Sarah, sharp-eyed, ambitious Sarah, with her Ivy League polish and whispers of "we're in this together," had seen the potential. She'd charmed her way onto the team as my co-founder, then methodically isolated me. Doctored emails to make it look like I'd embezzled funds. Planted doubts with the investors. And when the feds came knocking, she'd played the victim, tear-streaked and broken, swearing I'd gone rogue. I remembered the arrest like it was yesterday, zip ties biting into my wrists, the flash of cameras outside the precinct, headlines screaming, "Tech darling turns thief." Mom's voice on the phone, frail and confused. "Elizabeth, what did you do?" I'd lost everything. The trial was a circus, me in ill-fitting suits from the public defender's closet, Sarah testifying with that fake quiver in her voice. Convicted on fraud. Sentenced to 10 years in Logan Correctional. But it wasn't the bars that broke me, it was the shank in the showers 6 months in. Courtesy of a hit Sarah arranged to silence the one loose end who knew too much. For the greater good, she'd whispered in my ear that last night. Before the knife. Greater good. Bullshit. Now. Staring at my younger self, fresher face. No prison tats snaking up my arm, I felt the rage coil like a spring. This wasn't some cosmic do-over for redemption. No. This was my shot at vengeance. American style, raw, unfiltered, and probably landing me in hell. But first, I'd dismantle her empire brick by brick. Sarah Klein was about to learn what it felt like to fall from the top. I splashed water on my face, the cold shock grounding me. My phone buzzed, a text from Jake, my boyfriend back then. "Babe, dinner at 7? Miss you." Jake. Sweet. Clueless Jake, who'd bailed the second the scandal hit, ghosting me with a single, "I can't do this" voicemail. He'd end up Sarah's rebound, then her husband, co-CEO of the rebranded empire built on my stolen code. Yeah, he'd pay too. But not yet. Timing was everything. I dressed in the jeans and hoodie that felt like armor from a simpler life, grabbed my laptop, and headed out into the crisp Chicago fall. The L train rattled overhead as I walked to the corner coffee shop, Windy City Brew, where I'd first pitched Revolutionize to a room of skeptical VCs. Today, it was just me and a black coffee, plotting phase 1, secure the code. In my first life, I'd been sloppy, shared repo access with Sarah under the guise of Team Trust. This time, I'd fork it privately, bury it deep, and feed her just enough bait to hook her greed. By noon, I'd emailed the original investors. Casual as hell. Hey, Elizabeth here. Big updates on Rev. Let's chat next week. No red flags. Just enough to keep them warm. Then, I hit the library, pulling up public records on Apex. Sarah had started as a junior analyst there, climbing fast on charm and cutthroat deals. But the secret, the one she'd buried deeper than my body in that pauper's grave, was her daddy's money. Old Man Klein, a Windy City real estate shark, had funneled seed cash through shell companies to make her look like a self-made wunderkind.
Expose that.
And her rags to riches TED Talk crumbles. As the sun dipped, I met Jake at our usual spot, a dive bar off Addison with sticky floors and $5 pitchers. He slid into the booth, all boyish grin and craft beer breath. You okay? You look intense. I forced a laugh, tracing his hand with mine, the same hand that would later sign off on my ruin. Just work stress. Revolutionize is blowing up.
Lies.
But sweet ones. We talked for hours, me memorizing the cadence of his voice, the way his eyes lit when he dreamed big. By the time we stumbled back to my place, tangled in sheets that smelled like fresh starts, I almost forgot. Almost. But as he slept, I slipped out of bed, booted up my laptop, and encrypted the core algorithm. Sorry, babe, I whispered to the dark. Your collateral. Weeks blurred into a frenzy. I played the eager founder, pitching demos that wowed without revealing the heart. Sarah entered the picture at a tech mixer in the Loop, same red dress, same predatory smile. Elizabeth, I've been following your work. Mind if I buy you a drink? Hook, line, sinker. I let her reel me in, sharing war stories over gin and tonics, dropping hints about scaling pains. She bit hard, her eyes gleaming with that familiar hunger. We should team up. I know people at Apex, real money. By month's end, she was in co-founder, 40% equity on paper, but I'd rigged the bylaws with kill switches only I controlled. Trust, but verify. Jake warmed to her too, the three of us grabbing late-night tacos, laughing like we were unbreakable. But at night, alone, I'd replay the trial transcripts I'd memorized, the perjured testimony, the forged docs. She's a visionary, Sarah had said on the stand. Visionary enough to steal. The first crack came during our seed round. Investors loved the pitch, but Apex's legal team flagged IP concerns. Sarah played it cool in the meeting, her hand on my knee under the table. We'll handle it, Liz. Family.
Family.
That word stuck like glass in my throat. I knew what came next, her planting the seeds of doubt, whispering to the suits that I was unstable, a lone wolf. This time, I countered with anonymous tips to a tech blogger, vague enough to stir buzz, pointed enough to spotlight Apex's shady funding. Is Sarah Klein's startup a front for daddy's dirty money? The post went viral overnight, shares hitting 50K before noon. Panic rippled through the office we'd sublet in River North. Sarah stormed in, face pale under her flawless makeup. What the hell? Elizabeth? This could tank us. I met her gaze, steady as steel. Just the internet doing its thing. We pivot.
Right?
That's what visionaries do. She bought it.
For now.
But I saw the flicker, the calculation. That night, Jake confronted me over takeout Thai. Babe, this drama. It's stressing everyone out. Sarah's wrecked.
Wrecked.
The word twisted something in me. She's tough. We'll survive. But as I lay awake later, his snores filling the room, I made my first controversial call. Seduce the truth out of him. Not for love, for leverage. Mornings after. Pillow talk turned interrogation. What did Sarah say about the leak?
Casual.
Like foreplay. Nothing much.
Just.
Worried you're burning bridges. His eyes dodged mine.
Lies.
I filed it away, the rage simmering low. Phase 2. Isolate. I'd frame it as growth, send Jake on a scouting trip to Silicon Valley. Funded by a grant I won. Distance breeds doubt. Thanksgiving loomed. A Norman Rockwell line my family's cramped bungalow on the south side. Mom. Frail even then. Her COPD flaring from years of factory shifts. Dad gone a decade. His ghost in the empty chair. And Grandpa, sharp as ever at 85, parked in his recliner with a tumbler of bourbon. The turkey was dry, the yams canned, but the stories flowed, old Chicago tales of bootleggers and benders. My grandpa smiled and asked about my apartment. I had no idea what he meant until that day. In this life, the words landed soft, nostalgic. But I remembered the prison visits, his voice crackling over the line. That shoebox in Wrigleyville? Hell.
Kid.
You deserved the penthouse. He died while I rotted. Heart attack alone in that recliner. Too proud to burden me with his decline. The guilt hit fresh. A knife of its own. Still the same old dump. Gramps, I said, squeezing his hand. But hey, one day I'll trade up. He chuckled, eyes twinkling. You will.
Beth.
You're a fighter.
Fighter.
Damn right. After dinner, as Mom dozed, I pulled him aside. Gramps, if things get rough, promise you'll call me? No hero crap. He patted my cheek, whiskey breath warm.
Deal.
Now go conquer the world. I left with pie and Tupperware and a resolve hardened like Chicago concrete. Back in the city, Sarah threw her first curve, a team-building weekend in the Wisconsin Dells. All awkward trust falls and craft IPAs. Jake begged off, citing work, my planted seed sprouting. Alone with her, hiking trails slick with November mud. She probed. You're different lately?
Liz.
Distant. Ambitious, I corrected, forcing a grin. We all are. That night, in the cabin's shared bunk, she whispered secrets over smuggled wine, her father's expectations, the pressure to prove she wasn't just a trust fund kid. Vulnerability, her favorite weapon. I leaned in, mirroring her. I get it. Mom's sick. Bills piling. This app? It's our ticket out.
Our.
The lie tasted like ash. But it worked. By Sunday, she was all in, drafting expansion plans that cribbed my buried code. December brought snow, and the first real test, a rival startup. Echo Work. Sniffing around our IP. Sarah wanted to sue, aggressive.
Public.
I pushed settlement.
Quiet.
We focus on growth, not grudges. Behind her back, I fed Echo Work scraps, enough to discredit Apex's claims. Muddy the waters. Controversial? Hell yes. But in the cutthroat game of American tech, mercy was for suckers. Christmas Eve. Jake returned from Cali, tanned and buzzing with connections. We decorated my tree, cheap ornaments from the dollar store, his hands on my waist, breath hot on my neck. Missed you, Liz. Me too. Half true. As we made love by firelight from the radiator, I searched his phone while he showered. Text from Sarah. Keep her steady. We need this.
Bingo.
The betrayal's blueprint. Etched in pixels. My heart hammered. Not with hurt, but triumph. Phase 3. Fracture. New Year dawned gray and unforgiving. The loop buried under a foot of slush. Revolutionize hit 10K users overnight. Beta testers raving about the seamless shifts for caregivers. Sarah threw a launch party at a rooftop bar in the West Loop. Exposed brick. Fairy lights strung like nooses. Influencers snapping selfies with our logo. I played the part. Effervescent host. Clinking flutes with VCs. Jake's arm around me like a prop. But under the laughter, the plan uncoiled. I'd hacked her email months back, simple phishing dressed as a collab invite, and now doled out drips of sabotage. A misfiled investor deck with inflated projections. Enough to spook the cautious ones. Whispers to a podcaster about founder friction. Nothing traceable. Just erosion. Sarah cornered me by the heaters. Wind whipping her bob. Liz, this is huge. We're unstoppable. Unstoppable, I echoed, toasting her. To empires. Jake pulled me aside later. Eyes shadowed. Sarah mentioned. Concerns. About the code. Says you're holding back. The fracture. Widening. I cupped his face. Soft as deception. She's paranoid.
Babe.
Trust me. He nodded. But the seed festered. That night, back in bed, I rode the wave of his doubt, drawing out confessions between gasps. She thinks I'm irreplaceable, I murmured. But what if I'm not? You're everything, he lied. And I let him. Spring thawed the city, but not my resolve. Mom's checkup revealed the cancer, earlier than before, but I'd seen it coming. I funneled bonus, cash her way. Anonymous Venmo from a burner account. Windfall from the app.
Ma.
Spoil yourself, she cried, hugging me in the oncology waiting room. My girl's a miracle. If only she knew. Grandpa's calls grew rarer, his voice thinner. But I drove out Sundays, bringing contraband smokes and stories of victories. Watch your back, Beth, he'd rasp one afternoon, parked by the lake. Snakes in the grass. Got my boots on. Gramps. We laughed, but his words echoed the Shanks twist. By April, Apex pressured Sarah for results, her father's shadow looming. She proposed a pivot, monetize user data, sell to advertisers. It's the future.
Liz.
Google does it. Ethics be damned. In my first life, I'd caved, and it poisoned the app's soul.
Users valen en masse.
This time, I fought public, a Medium post. Why revolutionize stays user first. It trended, shares hitting 100K, but Sarah saw red. Boardroom showdown, her pacing like a caged fox. Jake silent in the corner. This idealism is suicide. We need revenue now. It's betrayal. I shot back. Voice steel. Of everything we built. The room froze. Jake shifted. Uncomfortable. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Recognition?
No.
Just fury.
Fine.
Your way. But if we crash, it's on you. Crash we did.
Or so it seemed.
Users dipped 20%. Investors grumbled. But I'd timed it, leaked the data scheme to a whistleblower site, framing it as internal debate. Apex took the hit. Stock dipping. Her father raging via conference call. Clean this up. Sarah.
She did. By turning on me.
May brought the first frame, a discovered email chain. Me proposing shady offshore accounts. Forged.
Sloppy, her panic showing.
Jake showed it to me first. Brow furrowed. Liz. Explain. I feigned shock. Tears hot. It's not me. Someone's gunning for us. He bought it.
For a heartbeat.
Then Sarah escalated, calling an emergency vote. Elizabeth's compromised. We need new leadership. The board, puppets, all wavered. I countered with my ace, the original code fork, time-stamped pre-betrayal. This is mine. Touch it, and revolutionize dies.
Stalemate.
But the damage festered. Jake moved out that week. Space to think. Sarah's texts turned venomous. You're poison.
Good.
Let it burn. Summer scorched the streets. Humidity thick as guilt. I went dark, sublet the apartment. Crashed on Mom's couch. Coded in fevered bursts. Grandpa's funeral hit like a gut punch. Emphysema finally claiming him. Casket closed from the chemo scars. At the wake, rain lashing the church windows. Mom clung to me. He was so proud. Beth. I know, but inside, the void screamed. He'd never see my revenge. Phase 4. Accelerate.
I relaunched solo.
Revolutionize 2.0. Open source core. Viral hooks for marginalized workers. Downloads exploded. Press calling it the comeback kid. Sarah scrambled. Rebranding as EmpowerNet, but the stink of scandal clung. Investors fled. Her father cut the cord. She struck back in August. The heat wave breaking with a storm that flooded the basements. Anonymous post on Glassdoor. Co-founder Elizabeth Harper, unstable. Possible fraud. Screenshots of my emails. More forgeries. The cops came at dawn, detectives from CFD's cyber unit. Badges glinting wet. MS. Harper, we need to talk. Interrogation room. Stale coffee. Fluorescent buzz. They laid it out. Embezzlement allegations. Tied to Apex funds. Sarah's doing. Obvious as a brick. But proof?
Slim.
I lawyered up. A pro bono shark from the Innocence Project. Ironic. Given my sins. Bail hearing, Jake testified on the fence, his eyes avoiding mine. Sarah, poised in pearls, swore I'd snapped under pressure. The judge set bond at $50K. Mom's savings. Drained in hours. House arrest in Wrigleyville. Ankle monitor chafing like shackles premature.
Nights.
I paced, plotting the kill shot. Controversial? I dox her skeletons, affairs with board members. The pill addiction buried in rehab sabbaticals. But that was small potatoes. The real bomb, her father's Ponzi ties. Real estate flips laundering mob cash. I dug it up in my first life. From a cell block snitch. But dismissed as paranoia.
Now.
It was dynamite. September equinox. Leaves turning blood red. I met my contact, a grizzled ex-cop turned PI. Bought with app equity. You sure?
Kid?
This scorches Earth. Earth's already ash, I said. Files dropped to ProPublica, timelines.
Wire transfers.
Klein Patriarch's indictments pending. Front page Sunday. Tech heiress's empire built on laundered lies. Apex imploded. Stock crashed 80%. Sarah's face on every news feed, haggard.
Cornered.
Jake called. Voice cracking. What did you do? Survived, I whispered, hanging up. But she wasn't done. October's chill brought the twist. A burner phone buzz. Unknown number. Elizabeth. We need to talk. The rooftop. Midnight.
Sarah.
Alone. No games. I went. Ankle monitor silenced with a borrowed jammer. Wind howled off Lake Michigan. City lights fracturing in puddles. She waited by the edge. Cigarette glowing like a fuse. You bitch, she spat. But her hands shook. My father's ruined. Everything gone. You're doing, I said, stepping close. Rain started, pattering like suppressed fire. You stole my life. Framed me. Killed me. Her laugh cracked. Manic. Killed? Dramatic much? You were a liability. The app was mine. Yours. Rage boiled over. I grabbed her collar, shoving her against the rail. Controversial decision number infinity. The push. Not to kill, God. No, but to dangle. Legs kicking air. Her scream swallowed by thunder. Elizabeth, please. Memories flashed. The knife. Her whisper.
Say it. Admit it. I
did it for us. For the dream. Dream? I hauled her back, sodden and sobbing. Your dream. Mine was dust. She crumpled. Mascara rivers. What now? Jail? Worse. Twist hit like lightning. Jake. Emerging from shadows. Not rescuer, accomplice. Liz. Let her go. We can fix this.
We.
The betrayal doubled. Knife fresh. You knew. All along. He shrugged. Rain masking tears. She promised shares. A future. Futures. Plural. I laughed. Hollow. The real controversial call. Walk away. Let the feds unravel them. Scandals compounding. No blood on my hands this time. November elections buzzed. But my world narrowed to depositions. Headlines fading. Revolutionize thrived. Equity vesting. Mom's treatments paid. But victory tasted flat. December 2nd. Snow blanketing the city. I stood on that rooftop. Alone. Wind whispering ghosts. Grandpa's voice echoed. Fighter. Huh.
Yeah.
But fighter's scar. Sarah got 5 years fraud. Conspiracy. Jake. 2 for perjury.
Me?
Cleared. But whispers lingered. That Harper girl. Ruthless. Happily ever after? In America.
It's gray.
I built the empire. But slept with ghosts. Reborn.
Yes. Whole.
Never. Yet as fireworks cracked over the bean, I raised a flask to the stars. To second chances. Bitter. But mine. Wait, no. That can't be the end. The twist deepened, burrowing like frost into bone. Turns out, walking away wasn't absolution, it was ignition. Post-scandal, Sarah's trial became tabloid fodder, paparazzi swarming the courthouse steps. Her fall framed as Tex Icarus. But in the arraignment's hush, her eyes locked on mine across the gallery. Not broken, but plotting. A nod. Subtle as sin. This isn't over. I should have known. Schemers like her don't shatter. They splinter. Shards lethal. December thawed into January's bite. My ankle monitor finally off. But paranoia clung like static. Revolutionized scaled. Partnerships with Uber Eats. Features for immigrant nannies, but success amplified shadows. Late nights in the new office. A loft in Pilsen with graffiti murals and craft coffee. I jump at footsteps, half expecting her ghost. Mom noticed first. Overposal at her place.
Beth.
You're jumping at toasters. What's eating you? Ghosts, I admitted. Stirring too hot broth.
Truth.
Half-baked. She squeezed my hand, her rings loose from weight loss. Fight him off. Mija. Like your grandpa taught. Gramps. His recliner sat empty now. A shrine of faded newspapers. I'd kept my promise, no heroics, but he'd slipped anyway.
Stubborn to the end.
He'd say dust him, I murmured. She smiled. Weary. He would. But dusting proved trickier. February brought the first shard. Hacked servers. Revolutionized user data. Harmless anonymized stats. Dumped on the dark web.
No breach.
Just a warning shot. FBI traced it to a VPN in Belize. Sarah's vacation spot pre-arrest. Message attached. Your turn to fall. Rage. Familiar friend. Coiled tight. Controversial pivot. Go offensive. I hired black hat freelancers, morally gray hackers from Reddit's underbelly, to mirror her moves. Retaliation? Child's play. Her prison commissary mysteriously cut off. Anonymous tips to her cell block rivals about Snitch Klein.
Non violent.
Deniable. But sleep evaded. Ethics gnawing like rats. Jake resurfaced in March. Post his plea deal. Community service scrubbing graffiti in Grant Park. He cornered me at a coffee run. All for remorse and 5 o'clock shadow. Liz. I fucked up. Let me make it right.
Right.
Like erasing the texts, the lies. But curiosity, or cruelty, bade me listen. Over lattes in a Millennium Park nook. Pigeons scavenging crumbs. He spilled Sarah's masterstroke. The insurance policy. A dead man's switch. If convicted. Files auto-dropped to media. Proving I'd orchestrated the Apex leaks from day one. Forged chats. AI deepfakes of my voice greenlighting embezzlement. She's unhinged, he whispered. Eyes darting. Help me stop it. For us.
Us.
The words slithered. Tempting. Controversial decision. Ally with the devil's apprentice. I nodded.
Slow.
Proof first. He delivered a USB drive. Trembling hands. Timestamps aligning. The switch was real. Coded in her personal server. Accessible only post-mortem or bailout. She's out in 48 months.
Liz.
With good behavior. Good behavior. Irony soured my tongue. We plotted in shadows. Me. Jake. The hackers. Infiltrate. Neutralize. April showers masked our meetups. Motel rooms off Lakeshore Drive. The lines drawn. Takeout congealing. Tension crackled. Old sparks igniting despite the bile. One night. Bourbon loosening tongues. He kissed me, desperate. Familiar. I pulled back. Heart hammering. This changes nothing. Everything, he breathed.
Lies.
But I let it happen. Once. Twice. Fuel for the fire. Or so I told myself. Mom's chemo rounds blurred days. Her hair thinning. Spirits defiant. Tell me about the app.
Beth.
Distract me. So I did. Spinning tales of users thriving, single dads juggling shifts, refugees building nests. Omission, the vengeance staining it black. May's bloom hid thorns. The hack succeeded, server wiped, switch defused. Jake high-fived me in the motel, grin boyish. We're free.
Free.
Until the callback, Sarah's lawyer. Slick as oil. Requesting a settlement chat. Neutral ground, a law office in the Gold Coast. Views of yacht clubs mocking our wreckage. She entered cuffed. Jumpsuit orange against marble. But chin high.
No grovel. Defiance.
Elizabeth. Partner.
Ex y corrected.
Seated across oak. Jake fidgeted beside me. Her glare icing him.
Her layar silit doks. Ne idea.
Payout hush. MS. Klein wishes to. Resolve. Resolve. Bullshit. Midway through legalese. Her voice cut. You think you won? That code, your precious baby? It's tainted. I laced it with backdoors years ago. One ping. And every user's data floods the net. Bluff. Or truth. My blood chilled. In my first death, she'd bragged post-shink. Your empire. My strings. The twist within twist. She'd anticipated my return? Paranoia. Or prescience. Prove it, I challenged. She smiled. Serpent sweet. Plead it down. Or watch your legacy burn. Controversial calculus. Pay the devil's toll. I signed. Wired funds from a slush account, app profits. Clean on paper. Jake protested. We had her. We have peace, I lied. But release tasted like surrender. Summer solstice. Longest day. Shortest fuse. Mom rang remission bells. Hugs fierce in the hospital atrium. My fighter. Guilt gnawed deeper. Grandpa's birthday would have been July 4th. Fireworks over the lake. His stories booming. I toasted solo on the pier.
Bottle to waves.
Miss you. Old man. Echoes answered with trouble. August heat wave. Servers overheating. Anomalies spiking. Backdoors. Active. Users complained, glitches. Logouts. I traced it, Sarah. From inside. Puppeteering via smuggled phone. Enough. Phase final. Endgame. Controversial to the core, bribe a guard. Arrange visitation. No violence. But violation. Face her in the pen's sterile room. Plexiglass between. September equinox again. Irony thick. She looked smaller. Institutional green draining color. Come to gloat. To finish. I pressed a drive to the slot. Virus. Elegant. Wiping her digital ghosts. Your strings? Cut. Her laugh barked. Too late. The real bomb?
Jake. What?
But the buzzer sounded. Guards hauling her. Revelation hit post-visit. His remorse. The motel trysts plants. To deliver the kill code? No worse. Text side missed. Him feeding her updates. Playing double. Betrayal squared. I confronted him at dusk. Lincoln Park benches. Joggers blurring past. You sold me out. Again. He crumbled. Tears genuine? She had dirt. On you the hacks. The bribes. Leverage. Leverage. American as apple pie. I walked. Leaving him in twilight. The city swallowing his pleas. October's chill heralded collapse. Backdoors purged. But damage lingered. Lawsuits from users. Press dubbing me Harper's hack. Mom rallied. Oblivious. Head high. Beth. November elections. Red waves. Blue tears. My world. Revolutionized sold. To ethical buyers. Payout securing mom's golden years. But victory?
Pyrrhic.
December 2nd. Anniversary of nothing and everything. Snow fell soft on the rooftop. City hushed. No confrontation, just me. Flask raised. To endings. But Sarah's last letter arrived. Contraband via Jake. You reborn? I see it now. Next life. I'll be waiting. Chills. Was it madness? Or mirror? Reincarnation's curse. Cycles unbroken. Cycles. The word haunted like a bad loop in code. Infinite and inexorable. That letter burned a hole in my pocket all winter. Sarah's scrawl. Jagged from prison issue pens. Reborn doesn't mean redeemed. Elizabeth. It means repeating. See you on the other side. Madness. Surely. Or was it? In the quiet hours. Staring at Chicago's frost-laced skyline from my new condo in Streeterville. Earn spoils. Floor-to-ceiling windows mocking isolation. I wondered if she'd cracked the veil too. Shared the cosmic joke. Spring 2020 hit like a fever dream. Pandemic lockdowns. The world folding inward. Revolutionized pivoted to virtual shifts. Demand surging as nurses and delivery folks became frontline saints. I donated code to hospitals. Masks to shelters. Playing the hero. Mom thrived. Her garden blooming on the south side. Roses defiant against weeds. You're my anchor. Beth, she'd say over Zoom. Face pixelated but warm. Anchor. If only. Jake vanished post-confrontation. Rumors of him fleeing to Austin. Bootstrapping some crypto scam. Good riddance. But the void echoed.
No lovers.
No friends, just firewalls and freelancers. Controversial choice. Isolation as armor. Better alone than ambushed. By summer. Vaccines rolled out. Masks optional. But my caution lingered. A tip from the PI. Sarah's appeal granted. Overcrowding. Model inmate. Release date. July 4th. Independence Day. Poetic cruelty. I prepared like a siege. Legal moats. NDAs stacked. Hackers on retainer. But the real weapon?
Truth.
I'd compiled the dossier, every betrayal. Time-stamped from my dual lives. Not for court. But catharsis. A memoir. Maybe. Or just midnight confessions to an empty room. She emerged to fanfare. Reduced sentence. Book deal whispers. Tabloids ate it up. Fallen tech queen rises. I watched from afar.
Gut twisting.
As she surfaced in a Hamptons interview. Poised in white linen. Betrayal cuts deep. But forgiveness heals. Forgiveness. The gall. My phone buzzed mid-segment unknown. Coffee? Neutral. SK. Controversial apex. Accept.
We met in a Midtown Manhattan cafe.
Post her parole check-in, irony. Crossing state lines for closure. Tourists milled. Oblivious. She slid in opposite. Unchanged. Sharp bob. Sharper eyes. Elizabeth. You look. Prosperous. Surviving. Coffee bitter between us.
What?
Truce. Her smile.
Genuine?
Truce implies war. This is chess. You checkmated me, bravo. But life's longer. Longer. The letters echo. You knew?
About the
Return?
blink,
hesitation, then dreams, flashes, knife in hand, your eyes accusing, woke screaming, years before,
shared,
the universe's sick punchline. We talked, raw, unfiltered. Her father's empire dust, hers a phoenix of podcasts and resilience coaching. Regret flickered. I envied you. Raw talent. No silver spoon.
so I
Took. Understatement of centuries. But in her gaze, not monster mirror. Flawed American dream chaser. Crushed under same boot. My turn. You killed me.
Sarah,
Not just the body, the spark. She paled.
I
Arranged. But the shank? Impulse. Fear.
fear,
Humanizes the devil. Controversial revelation. Empathy's poison. I left with a nod. No hugs, too hallmark. But the weight lifted. Fractional. Fall foliage turned fiery as mom's health waned. Chemo's toll. Bones brittle. I moved her to my condo. Hospice whispers looming.
nights,
She'd reminisce. Your grandpa. He'd love this view. Said you'd see the stars. Stars. Polluted by city glow. He was right. November rains lashed windows as she slipped, peaceful. Morphine soft. Love you. Fighter. Last words. A baton passed. Grief hollowed, but purpose-filled cracks. Revolutionize global now. Branches in LA. Code shared with Nairobi devs. Success. Untainted? December 2nd, 2025. Full circle. Snow swirled outside. Party below. Launch gala for Rev 3.0. AI ethics baked in. Investors toasted. Users shared stories. Moms thriving. Dreams deferred no more. Sarah appeared uninvited, slipping through velvet ropes. Congrats. May I? Controversial finale? Yes. We clinked glasses amid chatter. City lights winking complicit. To second lives, she murmured. Thirds, I countered.
no twist, no blade, no fram,
Just two women. Scarred architects. Building on ruins. As guests dispersed, I stepped to the balcony. Wind crisp. Grandpa's voice. Imagined. Knew you had it. Kid. Happily ever after? In this gritty reboot. It's tentative gray skies. But sun breaking. Reborn not for hate. But rewrite. And damn if that doesn't feel like winning.